When you look at the children committing crimes, some have parents who don't care. Others are at their wits' end. But one former top cop says that's no excuse. He wants parents punished for their kids' actions.
I think it's at the current situation, it's the worst I've ever seen it.
He's been the man on the front line for the past 3 decades. But former Detective Superintendent Mark Ainsworth believes it's never been harder to be a cop, and he's got a radical solution.
I think it's well and truly time that governments of the day need to consider some legislation around parents' responsibilities and guardian responsibilities in managing the behaviour and knowing where their kids are at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mark Ainsworth spent 33 years in the Queensland Police Force. He worked on 6 royal commissions and was the lead detective on the murder case of Brisbane mum Alison Baden-Clay. But as our youth crime crisis continues to spiral, Mark believes radical change is needed to even start addressing the problem.
The Animal Care and Protection Act, there's requirements there for people to look after animals, and care for animals, look after them. This situation is human related. There's got to be some comeback on the parents and guardians of these children.
Mark's ideas don't stop there. He believes boot camps as diversion centres for repeat youth offenders need to be seriously looked at.
Out to a rural area where there's no social media, where it's run by people of maybe ex-military, ex-police, or people that have the capabilities to instill a bit of discipline to these kids.
Numerous private programs already run around the country, but Mark says this should be court-ordered. He says the centres should have psychologists on the team as well to get to the root of the offending.
It gives them a chance to turn things around. They may earn an education, learn some leadership skills and can come back as role models for others going down this path.
And it's an idea which has the support of victims' families. Kelsey Davies, Mikhail Chandler and Cherie Robertson were tragically killed when a 13-year-old allegedly hit them while driving in a stolen car in Maryborough last month. Today, Cherie Robertson was laid to rest, a guard of honour for the nurse who cared for everyone. Kelsey's mum Susan and sister Talia bravely spoke out in the days after Kelsey's death in the hope no other family has to go through what they are right now.
What do you think needs to happen with the laws?
Maybe like an army-style boot camp for them. Out in the desert, somewhere where they can't escape.
Routine.
For at least a year.
Yeah.
Make them get up at 6, make them make their beds, make them do everything. Do the drills, do everything they do in the army.
Learn the respect.
They need to learn those behaviours that they've grown up with. And I don't know how else they can change them.
Where are the parents?
Their number one job is to take care of their children and teach them how to be respectable young people to become, kind, thoughtful, respectful adults.
The government keeps talking about these new youth crime laws they've brought in. Do you think they will help?
Mandatory life imprisonment for murder. Has that stopped murders? I can't see how increasing penalties for an unlawful use of a motor vehicle is going to stop what's going on.
And with more and more families every week affected by youth crime, people are starting to take matters into their own hands. A vigilante group in Rockhampton surrounding a house last week of a person who they believe was behind break-ins in the area.
And I don't think that's the right way to go about it. I fully understand their frustrations and why they did it. But I think, we've got to get ahead of the game and try and do something different.
Mark says it's clear the current system is not working and it's time for something new.
I equate what I see in Parliament these days as kids in kindergartens, the way they behave. This is a critical issue. And the slanging and the types of comments going on from our community leaders voted by the community is just very, very poor in my view.
Do you think anything in place at the moment will break this youth crime crisis cycle?
Not in my view, not to the extreme that we're looking at currently, and I think that unless something changes, I can't see it improving.
And I think think one thing we can probably all agree on, there is no quick fix, unfortunately.